Now that all 12 episodes have finally been released,
They need to be teased a bit more.
after a delay,
The wait is over.
I thought I would give my honest review
Well, in that case, I'll leave the judgment up to me.
on the
Azur Lane.
anime and things that I found within it.
Apologies for making a personal remark, but I've made a few observations.
So let's begin.
それでも前に進むの振り返らずに
That was a great anime opening song, and the ending song is also pretty good too. And anytime an anime has a song that gets you ready to start the anime, it's a great sign. This is really what pumped me up when the first trailer came out. For those of you who don't know, Azur Lane is a mobile gacha game where World War II ships are embodied by female characters fighting
The sirens.
for the sake of humanity, and they recently created an anime about it, which is this. So this anime was produced by Biberi Animation Studios. This is a brand new animation studio. They really haven't done any works. That first one that you see there is just an intro to the studio. That second one is a Kickstarter they started. So this is the first anime they actually got to work on as a contract. They also looks like they're going to have Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2 under their studio. And I hope they do a good job because I liked Season 1. So it is a little bit of cause concern because it is a new studio that's learning. But, give them a shot. So for those of you who have never played the game, should check it out. This channel is great for helping newer players learn how to play the game. So before I continue on with the review, I just want to make sure that I disclose that there will be spoilers in this anime review. If you are susceptible to not wanting to listen to those spoilers and you haven't seen the anime yet, then check the comment section. There will be a timestamp of when I will jump to the part where there will be a spoiler safe section of the review. So beyond this point, there will be spoilers. And then you just got to check the description for where there will no longer be spoilers.
Engage!
So I watched the subbed and I also watched the dubbed up into the point that they are currently at. They're not finished. So we'll be reviewing both. So we'll start with the voice acting of the show. If you're in the subbed, it's actually pretty good. There's nothing too wrong with the subbed. One of the big benefits of watching subbed is you'll get to hear a lot of the lines from the actual game.
無駄な争いを通して無駄な争いを通して状態良好行こう状態良好行こう吹雪型駆逐艦の改良型綾波です中央吹雪型駆逐艦改良型綾波鬼神の力味わうがいい鬼神の力味わうがいい戦いの次にまた戦いか戦いの次にまた戦い戦闘は嫌いではないけど好きじゃないです戦闘は嫌いじゃないけど好きじゃないですさあ子供めこのハモマンがやっつけてやるさあ子供めこのハモマンがやっつけてやる昇格姉さんいればもう何も怖くないお姉ちゃんいれば何も怖くないこの笛の調べは亡者を鎮める鎮魂曲この笛の調べは亡者を鎮める鎮魂曲終わりだ終わりだよく食ってよく寝てよく遊ぶよく食ってよく寝てよく遊ぶ魔女っ子アイドルサラトガちゃんただいま正式デビューよ魔女っ子アイドルサラトガちゃんただいま正式デビューよ鶴瓶は井桁を立ち雨だれ石をうがつ鶴瓶は井桁を立ち雨だれ石をうがつおよ綺麗なカモメさんが綺麗なカモメさん変な感じです変な感じです狙ってポン狙ってポン敵さん 強そうです。敵さん、強そうです。頑張ります。頑張ります。戦いの次にまた戦いか。戦いの次にまた戦いか。これこそこの私にふさわしい艦隊だわ。これこそ私が求めた艦隊だわ。雪風様の真の力を見せてやるのだ。雪風様の力を見せてやるのだ。うちの妹、すっごく可愛いです。うちの妹も負けてません。すっごく可愛いです。
優雅は伊達じゃありませんよ。
優雅は伊達じゃありませんよ。
頑張る、頑張る。自己リミッター解除。自己リミッター解除。ミリオンヘッドスマッシュ。ミリオンヘッドスマッシュ。
I've never heard this before.
世は長門、獣王の長門である。
Now, if you watch the dub, it's a different story. When I first saw the dubbed cast, I was actually excited that it'd be pretty good. And, well, listen to some of these accents.
Indeed it has. Good day, old friend.
Yeah, but does it look familiar? Time to charge! Tally-ho, soldiers!
Highness has emerged from on high to greet me. To what do I owe this honor?
And it only gets more comical for the German accents.
We are being sent on a mission. We'll be heading out soon, so please follow me.
Yeah, I can confirm it's same.
What now? Should we plan to take them out first?
Our only responsibility is to watch the island.
We will strike them before they return.
I'll be taking Z-23 and that Ayanami girl from your camp.
Fuck off! This is not about whatever you like or don't like! What? I don't know what you're suggesting, but I know you're wrong.
I actually feel bad for anyone who really likes Prince Eugen's voice in the game and then has to listen to this.
Good dog, ladies. Looks like you're having so much fun. Can we play?
At least they get this. And then there are things you can't even understand.
Yay, you're here! Oh no! Hey, Bubbles, Lucy!
Or this.
Are you kidding? How can you expect me to be calm when my entire base is being threatened right now?
Oh, you're so annoying!
I feel so faint. How could the superiors be so mean and bully me like this?
Stop being mean to my friends right now!
Back to the restaurant for all insufferable!
So, in all honesty, the dubbed isn't that bad if you take it and treat it something like the Ghost Stories dub, but if you want to take it seriously, it's a little bit hard.
We're staring at a bunch of bathtub tugboats. Let me handle these goons.
We do get some gems.
My sister. Yeah, I guess it is a bit annoying being related to a champion.
At least we get a lot of cat puns, and I mean a lot.
She acts like I'm inferior. Well, I'm definitely lost meow. I have a feeling that this is the Project Orochi ship. Is that for real? I should be going now. I saw something clawful. I just got a little lost. It's pretty dark in here.
Well, as they say, curiosity killed the cat.
They would have put me out of my misery. I'd be history. Dead cats tell no tales, you know. Maybe we should hightail it out of here. Meow, what are you looking at? It's on fire! You gotta be kidding me! A corgi. This will be a catastrophe. We've gotten the meowsing sail today! Don't catnap through it! Stop by now! I have a bad feline. I want answers right meow! A hot spring soak after work makes me feel like one divine feline.
And another thing that's really hard to take seriously in this show is the plot.
Do you know what's going on? You know, I was wanting to ask you the same question.
Unfortunately, the plot has a lot of holes in it, and it's just really confusing to understand.
It's too difficult to try to understand.
You follow a single ship.
Sorry about that. You've got the wrong sister.
Oh yay! It's Enterprise!
Around as she tries to defeat.
The sirens!
And I think Queen Elizabeth's monologue best describes my feelings on the matter.
I still don't understand those sirens. I know they're our enemy, of course, but what else? Where do they come from and what do they want? We've all asked the question many times, but no one seems to know how to find the answer. Why do the sirens even bother interacting with humanity? It doesn't make sense if their goal is to eradicate us. They should just do it instead of wasting time.
I couldn't have put it better myself. But seriously though, why are they fighting these sirens? And then, on top of that, they decide to fight each other rather than the sirens.
Why wage such a meaningless conflict?
But why? Because we're enemies!
It's this side of backstory that allows logic like this from the all-powerful Laffy to be acceptable.
Why? Why won't you fight me? Because I don't feel like fighting with you. I'm sleepy, so never mind.
What? 9! You're not allowed to do that! Quit messing with me or you're gonna regret it!
At least that makes more sense than Yorktown magically coming back all healthy at the end of Enterprise's story arc. So like any good story, we have our main theme.
War never changes, but war never changes.
Warfare stays the same no matter the era.
The truth is, war never changes. It's exactly the same no matter the era.
I suppose no matter the era, war never changes.
The world will change many times, but war stays the same.
So we start in episode 1 with basically like Pearl Harbor. There's actually a lot of aspects of history that are in this show. I mean, they even make mention of the German guided missile. However, there's also a lot of alternative history. The battle that looks like it would be Midway, yeah, it kind of has some alternatives there. And generally, it is not controlled by any sort of historical meaning. In fact, it's kind of disappointing because a lot of the reason why you think that these girls are in conflict is because the history of World War II, but it isn't at all, and we see that later. So there is really no reason for these people to be fighting, and that's why at the end they just decide not to. They just team up. And it's hard to believe that they're fighting for humanity because there isn't even a single human in the show. It's just these chickens. And I know that Kantai Collection got a lot of flack for the way that it handled the commander, but this is also weird. So if you want an actual rundown of the lore, here it is. These evil beings, the sirens, are created by an all-powerful being and strive to be as perfect as it. They come to Earth unexplained to destroy humanity. It is so easy for them they are not able to evolve, which they do through war. They go back through time and leak mental cube technology to the humans so that they can create the ship girls. This puts the humans on a more evil footing so the sirens can progress. Then they reset the timeline to evolve over and over again, typically using Enterprise as the key to their advancement. This creates multiple timelines such as the one with the game and the commander, and the one with the anime without the commander, as well as the one with Alterprise and Alter Takao, and many more.
Good grief!
Confused yet?
I don't understand this.
To make things simpler, in this multiverse theory, this universe does not have the commander, which means that many of the ship girls whose identities in the game are defined by their relationship with the commander are struggling to have an identity, and the creators had to kind of force one on them. One way that they did do that is have them have relationships or pseudo relationships with other ship girls.
Kate, what's happening? Lovers quarrel?
So while we do get forced side aspects of the show, like the starters, where we're searching for things like Yu-chan.
What's a Yu-chan?
Our main aspect of the show is basically Project
Orochi?
And despite what most people may say,
The goal of Project Orochi is not to create any ordinary ship. It is, shall we say, an ark meant to carry every wish across the ocean. You'll be reunited soon.
it is just a large ship. Okay, I take that back. It's a large ship with a force field and what looks to be like a nuclear guided missile, kind of. However, at the end, we just kind of all team up, blow up the ship, and, you know, with Azur Lane logic, you can chase down a missile with a propeller plane from World War II and shoot it down with an arrow. But I guess that's a lot of the logic that happens in the fight scenes in Azur Lane. So with that, let's talk about the conflict battle scenes in Azur Lane.
Hope they're ready for a big surprise!
I really wanted this to be a great fighting anime.
Can carriers really do that?
But with the studio and its budget, I don't think that was ever going to be possible to be completely stellar.
This is ridiculous.
They just didn't have the resources to make that possible.
But why? What did you do?
Sometimes the conflicts looked just like the gameplay. Other times we had these supernatural aspects that were totally unrealistic. Now that isn't completely unheard of in anime, but just going to point that out there. Generally, the anime battles were uninteresting because there was no real fear that there was going to come any harm to any of the characters. I mean, you could literally be shot multiple times point blank or even decapitated and still come out unharmed.
What the hell's going on?
As you learn to expect, a white knight always came to save the day.
Are you kidding?
I think that some of the battles were well done, but overall the battle scenes were below expectations. Gotta love the equipment transformation scenes though. Now with regards to the quality of certain stills, I want to be brief.
Apologies. I'm afraid we don't have any time for you.
They were not so good. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in the studio, or if they were just being rushed or didn't have enough of a budget, but there needs to be a lot of work there. It especially deteriorated over the course of the show. Episodes 8, 9, and 10 were probably the worst. I'm actually super happy that they decided to delay episodes 11 and 12 because I think that resulted in higher quality episodes, and I appreciate that, so I will applaud them on that decision.
Oh no, she's in trouble! Don't you worry, precious, I'm on the case! Transform! And now I'm Witch Girl Idol Saratoga! I'm officially making my debut! Invincible magic! Wait, what the what? I've had enough of this!
Artwork outside of high action shots was actually really good. The scenery art was also fantastic. And I definitely did appreciate the fact that they did take some aspects of the game and incorporate them into the scenery. A large part of the Azur Lane anime is slice of life. Yes, we kind of switch between the battle and the slice of life. There are a few cute scenes that we have.
Playing in the sand makes every bad thing go away. Jayo, you're doing a great job! Pinghai, stop eating all of our merchandise!
But generally what the show tries to do is to give a cameo of pretty much every ship in the game. It does a good job of doing this. Uses a lot of the poses from the game, uses a lot of the lines from the game as you saw earlier in the video. And I understand why they tried to do that for the purposes of trying to get their fan base kind of energized about the show. But what it does is take a lot of time away from that we could have from character development.
Things are pretty exciting around here.
I describe it as overcrowded.
We do get a little bit of character development from certain characters.
違う。やはり違う。お前は誰だ？
私はアマギよ。赤城がそう望んでいるのだから。
オロチなのか。姉様を離せ。
本当にそれでいいの？赤城は私に出会うためにここまでしたのに。偽物が何をほざく！あなただって偽物じゃない。赤城のことも頼みます。天城は言った。赤城を残して失われた天城の一部は他の船へと引き継がれる。
やめろ。
分かってるでしょ、カガ。
やめてくれ。
空母カガ。あなたは天城のパーツを使って改装された船。赤城があなたを愛したのはあなたの中に天城の影を見たから。でもそんなものはまやかし。
姉様、私は。
あなたは代用品でさえない。朽ちた部品の寄せ集め、海に浮かばぬテセウスの船。それがあなたよ、カガ。
Like Enterprise.
So you're afraid?
Me? Afraid?
But it definitely is not fleshed out enough to be a slice of life anime on its own. I think this is really one of the cases where, had it decided to be all slice of life, it could have been successful, or all kind of more battle like, but it kind of mixed the two.
Oopsie. The demon's awake. You brought this on yourself. Bring it, I ain't scared.
Hey, stop fighting! Don't you have manners? This is not the time or place!
And that could have a really good success, but it had a low budget and a shaky backstory lore that led to it falling a little bit flat. Gotta love the utter disrespect the show had for San Diego.
Sing and be cheerful all together, 'cause I'm your choice for #1. Look out! Behind you!
And we get a little bit of Arc Royal hiding in the background here.
If you're thinking of leaving, don't. You're being watched.
This one is cutest. You're not eating.
I'm about to. Sorry, I was thinking about something.
Are you okay? It's just a shallow cut. But don't worry, I'm happy to disinfect it for you.
Head slam!
I can see quite clearly that it is literally a black box.
How priceless.
Your nose, Arc Royal. It's bleeding.
There weren't only references to the mobile game in the anime, there were also references to other anime. See if you can get the references that I will show right now.
But it's not enough, is it? My love is strong. Strong enough to incinerate the world and burn on.
Ready? It's time for us to duel.
A scar left on your beautiful face would be a tragedy.
Don't mind me. Just thought I might clean house.
Pain is an interpreter, helping us understand each other's feelings.
And so now this brings me to
And so it begins.
the aspect of the anime that I least wanted to talk about. It's also very clearly stated on the Funimation page.
I already know what you want from me.
Fan service. Now, I understand that a lot of people play the game and watch the show for this specifically. I am not one of them. And luckily, they confined most of the worst parts to one single episode, episode 6.
Are you honestly dragging out this rubbish again?
However, weird camera angles are a frequent occurrence and do to some extent take away from the actual enjoyability of the show.
No, you don't! The way you are living is completely flawed.
So with that out of the way, we can bring this to a final conclusion. So in just over the time that it took to watch a single episode, and much less if you skipped to this point to avoid spoilers, you can get a sense of the Azur Lane Season 1 anime and how it went. My overall take from it is that it could be improved upon a lot. There are a lot of things that I think need to be improved upon before we have a season 2. However, I enjoyed watching the season. I do not regret spending the time watching Azur Lane, and I really do hope for a season 2. So in that case, I would say that overall it is successful. I think a lot of the problems with this season happen to be as a result of a new studio trying to do too much. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Would I recommend it for others to watch? Well, if you are really into the Azur Lane game and you know the characters and the backstory, this can be a great addition to your gameplay experience. I think it is a little shallow to stand by itself in terms of how it explains the story, but if you know the story, if you love the game, I think this is a must for people who like the game. If you haven't, it becomes a much harder sell. Maybe give it a few episodes shot, but I think it's much harder to sell this anime to somebody who is not a fan of the game. But if you watch this anime and you really do enjoy it, I strongly recommend that you do play the game. And if you ever need any help, you can subscribe to this channel. And we have a lot of help on the Discord server for newer players. Thank you guys for watching.